The film begins during the Second World War, setting the scene with a captured Japanese businessman Sato being transferred for slave labor. The ship's commander, enraged by Sato's perceived treason, reveals a fate worse than death. Sato will be chained permanently to an enemy British prisoner named Bronson, a man who harbors an intense hatred for the Japanese. Shackled together for life, their grim future is abruptly interrupted by an enemy attack. As the ship is hit and prisoners revolt, Bronson seizes the opportunity to pull Sato into the sea moments before the vessel explodes. The only survivors are the commander and the two chained captives. Washing up on a deserted island, Sato wakes first and is horrified to confirm the chains are real. Finding a dead soldier's gun, he considers shooting the unconscious Bronson for freedom. However, Bronson suddenly stirs and a fierce fight breaks out. Their mutual battle is cut short by a terrifying scream from the water. A lightning-fast creature with sharp claws attacks Bronson. Sato, aiming at Bronson, instead fires at the monster, successfully driving it back into the sea. Recognizing that the creature is a more pressing and deadly threat than their own rivalry, they reluctantly agree to a truce, understanding that their survival depends on their cooperation. Communication is hindered by the language barrier, but the peril is clear on Sato's face. Distraught by the seemingly hopeless situation, Sato attempts to take his own life, but Bronson quickly stops him, giving him his last bullet as a symbol of their shared commitment to fight. While gathering supplies, Bronson finds the body of a young fallen comrade. Overwhelmed with grief and anger, he rages against the Japanese for starting the war. Though Sato cannot understand the words, he understands the pain and offers Bronson water. The shared vulnerability begins to thaw the ice between them. As night falls, they set up camp. Bronson, in pain from the chain, refuses a spare shoe belonging to a dead Japanese soldier, unwilling to touch anything from his enemy. However, their tentative bond grows over a meal of cooked crabs, and Bronson helps Sato understand some basic language and pronounces his name. Later, when Bronson attempts to cut the chain but fails, Sato points out the chain's weak spot with his foot. Taking the cue, Bronson quickly breaks his own chain, then frees Sato, who despite Bronson's fear finishes the job with a single blow. Celebrating their freedom, their joyous noises attract attention from the surrounding darkness. Investigating the footprints, they are spotted by two Japanese soldiers and a prisoner. Bronson immediately suspects betrayal, but Sato, seeking to solidify Bronson's trust, hands him his weapon and tells him to hide. Sato engages his former comrades, lying that he is the only survivor. The soldiers, however, find clues of Bronson's presence, and after noticing the scar on Sato's leg, they realize he is the traitor. A soldier demands to know the enemy's location. Sato points to the fresh grave of Bronson's friend, claiming the enemy is dead. Just then, a loud, terrifying crash from the jungle distracts everyone. One soldier is sent to investigate, finding a cave where the monster is hiding. The creature ambushes him, severing his arm. The soldier's scream alerts the others. The remaining soldier attempts to kill Sato, but Bronson attacks him. Before Bronson can fire, the creature returns, brutally decapitating the Japanese soldier and then swiftly killing the two remaining wounded men. Watching the slaughter, Bronson and Sato flee into the dense forest, Sato clearing the path with a machete. Bronson tries to explain a plan to stop, but Sato, driven by panic, continues running. Bronson stumbles and the creature grabs him by the throat, poised to kill. Bronson wastes his last bullet. Suddenly, Sato returns, attacking the monster and freeing Bronson. They escape the creature but fall down a dangerous hallway, injuring both severely. The next day, they wake up separated and in terrible condition. Sato removes a shard of metal from his chest and finds a dead soldier's sword. Bronson, after nearly falling from a log near a waterfall, observes the creature applying medicine to its own wounds, realizing it possesses unexpected intelligence and understanding. Moments later, Bronson witnesses the monster brutally tear a crocodile in two. Meanwhile, Sato finds a dead man hanging from a tree, falling into a pit where he discovers the head of a similar creature, confirming the possibility of killing it. Taking the dead man's gun and sword, Sato resolves to hunt the beast. Bronson finds a crashed plane and scavenges a flare gun and a crucial unexploded bomb on the wing, inspiring a dangerous plan. Sato finds him and he leads Bronson into a nearby cave, pointing to a female monster guarding an egg. Sato warns that a female protecting its young is extremely dangerous, but Bronson, determined, vows not to leave the island without killing the creature. The unlikely and desperate alliance between Sato, a Japanese businessman branded a traitor, and Bronson, a fiercely anti-Japanese British prisoner whose shared horrific predicament forces them to cooperate for survival. The film opens during World War II as Sato is being transported for slave labor. His former commander, seeking a cruel punishment for his treason, chains him permanently to Bronson, initiating a lifelong sentence of mutual hatred. Their fate is violently interrupted when an enemy attack sinks the ship. In the chaos, Bronson instinctually pulls Sato overboard and the two wash ashore on a deserted island, the heavy chains still binding their legs. Their immediate mutual hostility boils over into a fight on the beach, only to be interrupted by the emergence of a monstrous lightning-fast creature from the sea. Sato, in a moment of desperate necessity, shoots at the monster instead of his foe, saving Bronson's life. The shared superior threat forces them into a fragile truce. Despite a severe language barrier, they recognize a primal need for joint survival. Bronson prevents a despondent Sato from taking his own life, sharing his last bullet as a symbol of their commitment to fight together. Their bond tentatively strengthens as they share a meager meal, and Bronson grieves over the body of a fallen British comrade, his pain understood by Sato even without words. The true turning point comes when Sato, using gestures, guides Bronson to the chain's weak point, enabling Bronson to use a makeshift tool to break his own shackle and then freeing Sato. Their joyous freedom is short-lived as their celebration attracts attention. Soon they encounter two surviving Japanese soldiers and a prisoner. Bronson hides while Sato, attempting to win his allies' trust, engages his former comrades. The soldiers, however, quickly realize Sato is the traitor due to the wound on his leg where the shackle was, and they demand to know the location of the enemy. The confrontation is shattered by the thunderous arrival of the creature, which brutally massacres the Japanese soldiers and the prisoner. Witnessing the ferocious slaughter, Bronson and Sato flee into the jungle. Despite Bronson's attempts to stop and plan, Sato's terror drives him onward. Bronson is caught by the monster, losing his last bullet in a missed shot. Sato bravely returns, attacking the creature to free his friend, cementing their loyalty. Their escape ends in a fall that separates and severely injures them both. The next day, both men struggle to survive alone. Bronson observes the monster healing its own wounds, realizing its surprising intelligence. He then witnesses the creature violently tearing a crocodile in half, further emphasizing its danger. Meanwhile, Sato finds a dead human and another creature's severed head in a pit, suggesting a way to defeat the monster. Armed with a sword and a pistol, Sato finds a crashed plane where Bronson has been scavenging. Bronson reveals an unexploded bomb stuck to the plane's wing, devising a suicidal plan. Sato leads Bronson to a cave where a female monster is guarding an egg. Bronson insists on using the bomb despite Sato's warning that killing the female will only enrage the other creatures. They haul the heavy bomb to the cave entrance but find the trigger is bent. The female's return forces them to rush to the plane wreck to retrieve an emergency hammer to fix the trigger. A monster attacks, and in a fierce duel they manage to get the hammer. Back in the cave, while Bronson works on the bomb, the creature attacks. Sato shoots it in the eye and, unable to find a clear shot, deliberately fires at the creature's egg, destroying it. Mortally wounded, Bronson urges Sato to escape, making the ultimate sacrifice. As the female creature approaches, Bronson triggers the bomb. It momentarily fails, but Bronson uses Sato's method, detonating the weapon in a massive explosion. Sato witnesses the explosion from a distance, grief-stricken, but the female's horrific scream confirms she has survived. She relentlessly pursues him to the shore. Utterly spent, Sato appears to surrender, kneeling on the sand. The female lunges, but it is a final trap. Sato ambushes her, fighting with renewed desperate fury born of his friend's sacrifice. He inflicts a fatal blow, ripping open her abdomen. Exhausted, he then tries to use a broken flare gun to signal for help before collapsing. Sato is rescued by an American ship. During interrogation, he refuses to acknowledge Bronson's help, choosing instead to admit his crime, killing his commander to save his own comrades. The officer continues to press about Bronson, reminding Sato of the profound bond forged in their shared hell. Sato maintains that no one else survived the island. As the ship sails away, Sato looks out to the shore and sees the island crawling with multiple creatures, suggesting that despite their victory, the threat remains far from eliminated, concluding the story. The ultimate test of the fragile but profound alliance between Sato and Bronson, forcing them to overcome their national enmity and sacrifice everything for survival. Bronson, realizing the bomb found in the wreckage offers their only chance to neutralize the superior threat, proposes a desperate suicidal mission against the female monster in its cave. Sato, having finally earned Bronson's trust by demonstrating his loyalty, agrees to help despite his fear that provoking the creature's mate will only unleash further devastation. Their partnership is fully realized in the final chaotic confrontation. After an intense battle to retrieve the necessary tools and arm the bomb, Bronson is severely wounded. Accepting his fate, he entrusts his belongings to a devastated Sato and ensures his friend escapes, choosing to stay behind as the detonator. Though the monster briefly subdues Bronson, he manages a final heroic act, triggering the bomb. Sato witnesses the massive explosion, believing his ally is dead, only to hear the furious scream of the surviving female creature. The chase leads to the shore, where Sato, fueled by the memory of Bronson's sacrifice, makes a final courageous stand. He defeats the female in a brutal duel but collapses from exhaustion. His rescue by an American ship provides only a momentary reprieve. When questioned, Sato honors Bronson's memory by remaining silent about his help, instead taking responsibility for his own actions. Looking back at the island, Sato realizes their victory was temporary. The creatures are breeding, confirming that the impossible horror they faced remains a catastrophic unconquered threat. The film closes with the chilling reality that the true enemy, the monstrous force of nature, has not been defeated, leaving Sato as the sole survivor, forever marked by his wartime alliance and profound loss. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.